My best friend told me to switch guys if they weren't loyal. So I did, switching 3 times, but I forgot to break up with my ex. The first ex brought his bro to ruin our date. The second ex had a ton of flirtatious interests. And the third ex was always pining for his first love. None of them were easy to deal with. But when they found out I was juggling all 3 of them, not a single one blamed me. Instead, they fought over who would treat me better and gave me a villa. I thought about running abroad to find a fourth. But one of them cornered me on the plane and wouldn't leave me alone. At this rate, when will I ever be free of these 3 exes? I'm a really innocent girl. When I was little, I always listened to my parents. And when I grew up, I listened to my best friend. My life was all about studying and exams. Finally, the year I got into college, I wanted to break free and challenge myself. I decided to find a boyfriend. Although I inherited my parents' good looks and had a decent appearance, I had no idea how to pick a boyfriend. So, I asked my best friend, Xiaomei. Xiaomei casually looked in the mirror and changed clothes, teaching me all her skills. Men are like dogs. If you treat them too well, they won't be able to handle it. The best way is to slap them once, then give them a sweet treat. Also, don't try to change men if they're not loyal. Just swap them out until you find one you like. I sat on a small bench, taking notes and nodding, thinking I understood, but also not completely sure. So, if I wasn't happy, I should just swap them out. Right as I was about to find a fourth, my first ex showed up. He immediately confronted me. Shen Qing. Who are those 2 men? They're saying you're their girlfriend. Wen Yuren was really good looking, just like Xiaomei's first rule. Men have to be good looking. If they're not, you won't even be able to eat when you look at them. I remembered this and took it to heart. I met Wen Yuren at the freshman assembly. As a top senior in our department, he gave a speech. And sitting in the front row, I was the only one paying attention to his speech and not admiring his looks. After the assembly, he approached me and asked for my contact info. He started texting me, checking in, picking me up after class, and walking me back to the dorm. He took me shopping outside school, treated me to movies, and brought me milk tea and snacks when I was stressed. He even bought me an expensive set of jewelry. For the first time in my life, things started to change from being still water to a ripple because of Wen Yuren. So, when he confessed, I said yes. But soon after, I found out he had this very close girl buddy. Whenever we went out, she'd just show up, as if they were a couple. She'd casually throw her arm around Wen Yuren's shoulder and wink at me. Is your wife going to mind? I've been friends with Xiao Wen for years. It's totally platonic. Wen Yuren sighed and defended her, saying, Xingxing is very understanding. She won't mind these things. I smiled faintly, watching them act all close. I remembered what Xiaomei told me. These things should only happen between boyfriends and girlfriends. So, are they a couple? What does that make me? Just the other woman? On our 1-month anniversary, Wen Yuren took me to an amusement park. That day was fun, especially since his girl buddy wasn't around. But when it got dark, and we were heading to the Ferris wheel, there she was again, popping out like a rat from a drain. She had that carefree attitude, and she linked arms with Wen Yuren. Xiao Wen, what a coincidence. You're here too? Wen Yuren smiled and asked, what are you doing here? Came by yourself? Yeah, she said, her voice full of jealousy. You know, I don't get along with other girls. They're too much. And the guys were busy today. They carried on chatting like I wasn't even there. Finally, Wen Yuren looked at me but didn't even feel sorry. Xingxing, why don't you invite her to join us? By this time, the girl finally noticed me. Oops, you're here too, sis. She pretended to be surprised, then turned to me. Please don't get mad, sis. I didn't mean to ignore you. I didn't even get a word in before the blame was on me. I smiled and shook my head. It's fine. I know you don't get along with girls. Let's all have fun together. Her expression was full of mixed emotions, like she caught on to my sarcasm. But sadly, Wen Yuren didn't notice. He even thought I was being sweet and understanding. When we got on the Ferris wheel, only 2 people could sit in each compartment. She linked arms with Wen Yuren and sat with him while I stood there, a total outsider. After they sat down, they looked at me with an apologetic glance. Sorry, sis. We were just chatting. We got caught up. She snapped her fingers. What if next ride, you and Xiao Wen sit together? Wen Yuren seemed a bit conflicted. Don't be mad, Xingxing. I'll come find you after. I watched the Ferris wheel rise higher and thought to myself. This is such a hassle. I didn't expect my first relationship to end this quickly. I realized I wasn't that into Wen Yuan anymore. Xiaomei's words kept echoing in my head. If a man isn't loyal, just swap him out. So, I found the second one. After the amusement park incident, I didn't meet Wen Yuan again. Instead, I went with Xiaomei to a bar. I had never been to one, so it felt like an exciting new experience. It was there that I met the second man, Zhou Shu. He was gorgeous, with golden curly hair, standing on stage playing the guitar. A crowd of girls went wild for him. Xiaomei didn't care. She raised her glass, sneering, "See, this is the kind of man you need. Handsome, talented, someone you can show off." I jotted her words down, but didn't catch her next one. But a guy like that? Sure, you can have fun with him, but he's trouble. So, after the show, I stopped Zhou Shu, asking for his contact. He stared at me for a while before smiling and agreeing. "You look like a good girl, how come you're at a bar?" Well, that was a bit spot on, but Xiaomei said love was a strange thing. Good girls can't have their own love? I added Zhou Shu, and from then on, I texted him daily, "Good morning, good night," reminding him to dress warmly or stay hydrated. I was more like a caretaker than a lover. But Zhou Shu seemed to like it, and we ended up together without realizing it. After we were together, I spent almost all my free time with him. He was very generous, covering all my living expenses. He loved taking me shopping. But just like the first one, Zhou Shu had lots of friends, so many that every bar we went to, everyone knew him. So, whenever we went out, I could feel the eyes of unfriendly people on me. Got a girlfriend now? A red-haired girl with a cigarette in hand exhaled smoke as she looked me over. Zhou Shu laughed and put his arm around me. "What's up, Xiaoya? Jealous that I'm dating?" Xiaoya rolled her eyes but grinned. "If I was jealous of you, I'd have died of it by now." She gave me a once-over, then sneered. Well, a good girl, huh? Zhou Shu, looks like you're getting tired of spicy food and now want a nice green veggie. Zhou Shu turned to me and said, "Xing is just fine. She's never jealous, right?" I smiled at him, just like I did with Wen Yuan, gently and gracefully. "Yeah, I'm glad you have so many friends." Xiaoya rolled her eyes and handed her phone to Zhou Shu. "I have 2 friends who want your contact. Are you going to add them?" Zhou Shu didn't respond but turned to me. "What do you think? Should I add them?" I wasn't sure what he meant, but Xiaomei didn't mention anything about it. When I didn't understand, I gave him a vague answer. "Sure, it's up to you," though I kept my face innocent and my tone neutral. For some reason, Zhou Shu seemed mad. He took out his phone, added the 2 contacts, then put it away. Xiaoya looked at me with even more disdain. She flicked her cigarette butt on the ground and said, "I thought you found true love, but turns out it's just this?" Zhou Shu didn't say anything and just took me out of the bar, dropping me back at school. I was confused about what he meant, so I asked Xiaomei. She was wearing a hot dress and laughing when I told her. "You're such an idiot. Your boyfriend isn't loyal at all. I suggest you check his phone if you get the chance. If he's a bad guy, don't stick around, don't cry or complain, just leave." Xiaomei looked at me seriously. "Remember, a man can be bad, but not rotten. I told you that, right?" I nodded firmly. "Men aren't loyal, just swap them out, that's the spirit." Xiaomei sighed in relief. "Remember, no love brain, change him if there's a problem." She was the one who believed in me the most. I didn't even know what kind of boyfriend to look for yet. But Xiaomei already thought I had the ability to be a love brain. That's something to be proud of. So when Zhou Shu asked me out to the bar again, I kept Xiaomei's advice in mind. Zhou Shu drank easily, especially with all the pretty girls around him at the bar. I waited for the moment when he was drunk and chatting with another beautiful girl. That's when I finally got his phone. Zhou Shu's password was easy to guess. I checked his WeChat and spent 5 minutes looking through it, but quickly put it back. It was so disgusting. The nasty words and pictures with pretty girls were endless. I finally understood what Xiaomei meant. If he's a bad guy, just leave. When we left the bar, I grabbed his sleeve in the wind. He stopped, confused, and asked, "What's up?" I was just pretending earlier, don't take it to heart. I nodded, then said seriously, "Zhou Shu, let's not hang out anymore." He frowned. "What does that mean? Is it because I added someone else's contact? Or because I drank with someone else?" I shook my head, not wanting to argue. "I don't like your behavior. It's better if we just do our own thing. I never really liked going to bars. It's better to be on my own." He laughed angrily. "Shen Qing, what's the matter with you? Didn't you meet me at a bar? We're all here to have fun. What's the problem? Oh my god. Xiao Mei was right. Bad guys really do cling. Whatever, I thought, as I rushed to grab a taxi and left. And just like that, the second relationship ended. I sighed, feeling lost. Where do I find the third one? Maybe my luck isn't all bad after all. The senior students from the last year hosted a social event, and I went too. The place for the gathering was at a KTV, with more than 10 people singing loudly and having fun. I was holding a soda bottle with both hands, looking around at the men, searching for someone who fit the criteria my friend Xiao Mei set. Finally, my gaze landed on a man singing with a microphone nearby. He was tall, had long legs, good looks, and a great voice. I remembered him. On the way here, I had heard a girl mention his name, Lu Xiao. He was pretty famous, one of the well-known figures in our school. But he was distant and cold, with no real friends around him, and no female companions either. After learning from my previous experiences, I decided to take the initiative and go for Lu Xiao. After all, there's no harm in trying, and at least I wouldn't repeat the same mistakes from my previous relationships. So for the entire night, I kept a close eye on Lu Xiao's movements. He went to sing. I watched. He went to the restroom. I followed. He stepped outside for some air. I kept watch. Maybe I was staring a little too intensely, because eventually, Lu Xiao caught me. He stared at me coldly and asked, "Why are you always following me?" I smiled awkwardly and said, "You're really good looking. Could I get your contact info?" Lu Xiao chuckled lightly and replied, "There are plenty of good-looking people around. Why don't you go ask them for their contact info?" That made sense. But I'd already asked 2 guys for their contacts, and honestly, the emotional responses weren't great. So I looked at Lu Xiao and asked, "Do you have any close female friends?" Lu Xiao looked confused and shook his head. "No." Success. A small victory. I smiled even wider and asked, "Do you like going to bars? Exchanging contacts with others?" He replied, "I don't." Lu Xiao was even more confused. "What's that supposed to mean?" I grinned, showing all my teeth, and raised my phone. "Then you're exactly what I'm looking for." Lu Xiao laughed, clearly amused by my bluntness. "Are you heartbroken from your last boyfriend?" "Kind of," I muttered vaguely, feeling proud of myself for getting his contact info. What's last boyfriend supposed to mean? Is there even an ex? I still needed to ask Xiao Mei for more advice later. Lu Xiao and I really clicked. We even liked the same kinds of movies and novels. We both loved musicals, enjoyed tea, and loved eating street-style hot pot. He was also really patient, always willing to pay for everything. He'd buy me a bag if I glanced at it for too long, take me to make custom rings, and even took tons of pictures of me. We were so in sync that I felt really confident about this new relationship. We kept things simple, just enjoying each other's company. After the 10th hot pot dinner, Lu Xiao and I walked back to school, and suddenly he held my hand. "How about we try being together?" Although I didn't quite know what he meant, I was confident in him. But every weekend, he would disappear. On those days, I couldn't get in touch with him, and he wouldn't reply to my messages. I was curious, but I didn't have much experience, so I reluctantly went to Xiao Mei for advice. She was lying on a rocking chair, doing a face mask, and gave me a strange look. "Are you sure you're his only girlfriend? Something feels off, doesn't it? Who disappears suddenly like that?" After hearing this, I started to wonder. "You're right. What do you think is going on?" Xiao Mei snickered. "Maybe he has another girlfriend." "Congrats, Zhao King. You've unlocked the hidden version." I sighed and sat on the small bench. What do I do now? Should I check his phone? Xiao Mei jumped off the rocking chair so fast that her face mask fell off. "Don't even think about it. Why check his phone? You need to follow him to figure it out. You'll only find the answers if you know his movements." I looked at Xiao Mei, my eyes lighting up. Follow him? That sounds like a great idea. Following him wasn't easy, though. It had to be done discreetly, so I disguised myself with baggy clothes, a baseball cap, and a mask. Waiting outside Lu Xiao's dorm building on Sunday. At 7 a.m., he left on time. At 7:30 a.m., he had a steamed bun breakfast at a nearby stall. At 8 a.m., he took a taxi to the airport. I stood in the airport parking lot, wondering if he was picking someone up. But why was he going every week? At noon, Lu Xiao returned from the airport, looking a little down. He went to a quiet restaurant near school, ordering a soup noodle dish he'd never had with me. The place was hidden in a corner. I was trying it for the first time and thought it was incredible. Why hadn't he ever shared such good food with me? He ordered 2 bowls but only ate one, then sat there absent-mindedly until it went cold. At 1 p.m., he went to the library, flipping through what looked like an album. I followed behind, curious. When he went to the restroom, I took the opportunity to sneak a peek and snap a photo. It was a handmade book, made by a girl. She had long black straight hair with a light fringe, wearing a white dress and looking shy. The book detailed their childhood jokes, high school friendships, and moments of infatuation in college. Then the girl went abroad and got married. I spent hours at Xiaomei's dorm, sighing and reflecting. Finally, I made my decision. Xiaomei, I've decided I'm done with relationships. I'm not cut out for them. Xiaomei laughed and handed me my phone back. Whatever, as long as a man's still breathing, he's not going to be honest. You can just treat him like a toy to spice up your boring life. Men are like clothes. If one doesn't fit, just change it. I buried my face in my arms, thinking again, that makes sense. Now, I'm more confident than ever. But just as I was looking for a fourth boyfriend, I got caught. It happened during a book sharing event at school. As the top student in my department, I was assigned to share something on stage. It was supposed to be a small event, but to my surprise, it was packed. I stood backstage, nervous, but not too bad. Xiaomei was by my side, casually looking in the mirror. Don't worry, you shared experiences in front of the whole school in elementary school, right? Why be scared of a few people now? After hearing Xiaomei, I felt much more relaxed. Only a best friend knows how to calm me down. But then, I saw Wen Yuren in the crowd at the event. While I was on stage, I scanned the audience and immediately spotted Wen Yuren's gloomy face. How strange. Wasn't he supposed to be with his female friend? Why was he looking at me like that? Although I was confused, I remembered Xiaomei's advice. Don't get involved with toxic people. But she didn't teach me how to avoid getting entangled in their mess. After the event ended, Wen Yuren blocked me in the hallway. His face was grim, arms crossed as he stared at me. Shen Qing, why haven't you replied to my messages? Are you breaking up with me? Breaking up? I froze, realizing I'd forgotten something important. I nodded and said, I'm fine with it, do whatever you want. I turned to leave, thinking I had answered his question. But unexpectedly, Wen Yuren grabbed my wrist, stopping me from leaving. Don't go. I can explain. I've blocked Yu Lan. We won't see each other again. I looked at him, confused. Okay, sure. How can you be so calm? I paused and let him pull me along. Why should I rush? That's their problem, not mine. He's a bad guy. I just need to filter him out. Was I supposed to change him? Xiaomei told me not to try to change men. Wen Yuren paused for a moment, then laughed, though I heard him gritting his teeth. Why? Is it because of what happened with Yu Lan? We've never had any issues. If you're mad, just tell me. I gave him an innocent look, feeling like this was all so ridiculous. He knew his girlfriend would be upset about these things, but he still did nothing to fix it. I'm not angry. It's your business with her. I won't try to change you. Wen Yuren looked confused. But we're in a relationship. How can you be so calm? Never mind. I smiled and squinted my eyes. I don't get upset over people who aren't worth it. I'm leaving now. I waved at him politely, but for some reason, Wen Yuren looked heartbroken. Why was he sad? How weird. Then, someone secretly took photos of me with Wen Yuren and posted them on the school forum. It even made the trending list, sparking discussions about the love triangle between Wen Yuren, Yu Lan, and me. The drama kept escalating until it reached Lu Xiao's ears. After a social event, I left feeling down. There were a lot of people, but none of them were as good-looking as my past boyfriends. Leaving the bar, I bumped into Lu Xiao, who was waiting by the roadside. He still looked handsome, and even in the dim light, I immediately recognized him. When Lu Xiao saw me, he looked surprised and walked up quickly. Shen Qing. Why didn't you reply to my messages? What's going on? I looked at him, conflicted but knowing I had to face reality. No, I just came to the social event. Lu Xiao's handsome face froze, staring at me in disbelief. Aren't we together? Why are you going to a social event again? Oh right, we did go out before. I sighed, shaking my head. Sadly, you're out now. Lu Xiao seemed confused. What does that mean? I sighed again and said, honestly, I know you still have someone in your heart. I can't change that, so I have to leave. Lu Xiao's face changed again, turning pale as he tried to explain. It's not. That was a long time ago. I'm serious about being with you now, if that's true. You shouldn't be secretly remembering her. I felt more innocent than him, thinking this wasn't right. He didn't meet my standards for a boyfriend. Lu Xiao urgently grabbed my wrist. Wait. I can explain. I'll throw away that book. He pleaded, his speed increasing. Ching ching. I wasn't used to it at first, but we get along so well now. I want to be serious with you. This will never happen again. I promise. I thought about it and pulled my hand away firmly. Sorry, you've lost my trust. Then I suddenly remembered. Oh right, do you want to break up too? That's fine. Looking at the taxi parked on the side of the road, I quickly jumped into the car, afraid that he might come after me. After all, Xiaomei had told me before that a man's vows are like dog barks. But I didn't know. Right after I left, Lu Xiao stood there, repeating that word in his mind. Want to break up? Fine? Lu Xiao was furious. Who was she even talking to? Of course, Lu Xiao didn't notice that behind him, there was another shadow following him. When Yu Lan blocked me at the classroom door, I was truly stunned. She glared at me with a look of anger. Shen Qing. What did you say to Wen Yuran? Why did he block me? I blinked. Huh? He blocked you? You should go find him. Why are you looking for me? Ha. Yu Lan rolled her eyes, sneering. I get it now. You're jealous of my good relationship with Xiao Wen, huh? If I wanted to have something with him, it would have happened already. It's not your turn. You think just by spreading rumors you can mess up our relationship? I opened my mouth, but before I could say anything, Xiaomei quickly jumped in. Oh, does the dog eat shit and have to keep eating? Shouldn't it occasionally lick a bone? You, pretending to be pure but secretly flirting. I've seen people like you before. Xiaomei scanned her from head to toe, but too bad. She's a real beauty. Fake guy. You're a fake beauty. Real guy? I couldn't help but grin as I watched Yu Lan's face twist in anger. Yu Lan was so mad that her face turned red, breathing heavily, trembling as she pointed at me. All right, Shen Qing. You wait for me. I nodded. All right, I'll be waiting. Wait for what? Xiaomei grabbed me forcefully, looking at me like I was hopeless. What's wrong with you? How could you let that woman say that about you? I smiled awkwardly. I was about to argue, but you were too fast. I couldn't keep up. Xiaomei rolled her eyes. Fine, fine. Is she your boyfriend's good brother or something? I nodded with force. Yeah, he came to find me the other day, but I listened to you and didn't get involved with him. Xiaomei finally smiled. Now, that's more like it. Don't mess with trash. There's a new bar opening tonight. Want to come see the world? The bar? My eyes lit up for a moment. You couldn't find another Lu Xiao at a mixer, but who knows, maybe at the second bar, I could find another Zhou Shu? The bar turned out to be fun, but I had no idea how to play Xiaomei's games. Plus, the lights were too bright, and I couldn't make out any of the men's faces. So, whenever anyone asked for my contact info, I added them. By the time I added the 18th person, someone grabbed my phone. I looked up, and to my surprise, there really is a second Zhou Shu in the world. He looked so much like him too. Zhou Shu's face was dark, gritting his teeth as he dragged me out of the bar. Shen Qing. I've sent you so many messages. I've been looking for you for so long. You're exchanging contact info with others in the bar? I was stunned. You're looking for me? Then why are you at the bar? He seemed to be struck by my logic, and his yelling became louder. Of course. The first time I met you was in a bar. How should I know which bar you'd show up at? Oh, my curiosity was gone. Now that you found me, can we go? Zhou Shu's gaze was as sharp as a knife, glaring at me as if to say, what do you mean? You want to break up with me? How slow was his reaction? I sighed helplessly and grabbed my phone back. I told you last time, we do our own thing. Why are you still entangling me? You were chasing me. Now you think I'm the one entangling you? Zhou Shu's eyes widened. We're not even broken up yet. You're still my girlfriend, understand? His voice was so loud that, even though the street wasn't crowded, many people turned to look. I almost wanted to run away, but Zhou Shu grabbed me and pulled me into his arms. Ching ching. His attitude suddenly softened. I know you're just a simple girl. I won't do this again, okay? I really like you. Zhou Shu was a whole head and a half taller than me, and when he hugged me, I couldn't break free. Damn, I forgot to ask Xiaomei one more question. What should I do when someone's chasing me? But soon, Zhou Shu was pulled back by someone grabbing his shoulder from behind and punched hard. When I saw Zhou Shu's handsome face bruised, I felt a twinge of pain. But when I saw who it was, that pain turned to fear. Wen Yuran's face twisted with anger, and he yanked Zhou Shu's collar, smiling at me. Ching ching, this is our third wheel? I bit my lip, hesitated for a long time, not knowing what to say. I can explain. It's fine. Wen Yuren shoved Zhou Shu aside. No need to explain. I know it was that outside guy who lied to you. Wen Yuren sneered. I'm the outside guy? I think you're the one. Huh. The two of them started fighting right away, exchanging words and blows, leaving me dumbfounded. At this point, if I don't leave now, when should I? I admit running away seems cowardly, but I don't think that's a big deal. Xiaomei was still holding her drink when I quickly dragged her out of the bar. When faced with being questioned or taking the initiative, I chose to take the initiative. What should I do? My first and second boyfriends are fighting. Xiaomei's pupils instantly widened, staring at me dumbfounded. I grinned awkwardly. We're not broken up yet. I forgot to break up. Actually, I haven't even broken up with my third yet. Finally, Xiaomei sprayed all her drink out, coughing heavily. What? Shen Qing Qing. You really have some guts. Xiaomei draped her arm around my shoulder, grinning. You're not just good at studying, you learn everything quickly. Learn everything quickly? I sighed helplessly, my mind in chaos. What am I supposed to do next? I still haven't found my fourth boyfriend. You still want to find another? Xiaomei was nearly ready to spit blood. Baby, I think you should settle these three first. It turns out, finding someone is easy, but resolving things with them is hard. When Lu Xiao cornered me under the dorm building, I had already given up. Why are you here again? Didn't you hear what I said last time? Lu Xiao smiled coldly, giving me goosebumps. He stepped closer and looked me in the eyes, firmly saying, I know everything now. Shen Qing, you're juggling 3 relationships, aren't you? At that moment, I didn't know how to feel. In fact, I felt indifferent. But they're all so pathetic. I was frustrated inside. I'm breaking up with all of you now. Is that okay? Lu Xiao shook his head, smiling. No, if you break up with me, I'll tell everyone. Everyone will know. I widened my eyes. You're threatening me? Lu Xiao nodded calmly. Yes, or you have another choice. I nervously squeezed my sleeve and decisively chose the second option. Okay, I'll choose the second. Lu Xiao glanced at me. Let's sit down and talk. Just like that? Anyone who doesn't know should be a fool. But sitting in the cafe, I realized I was the fool. I thought the conversation was supposed to be just me and Lu Xiao, but he brought Wen Yuren and Zhou Shu with him. But both of their faces were badly bruised. They looked at me like they wanted to tear me apart. I couldn't help but shrink back on the sofa. Lu Xiao introduced them one by one. This is your first. Wen Yuren, your senior. This is your second. Zhou Shu, the bar singer. I'm your third. You're senior by 2 years, right? I froze, and just as I was about to react, Zhou Shu hurriedly defended himself. I'm not a bar singer. I have my own profession. I'm a composer, okay? Lu Xiao looked at him like he was a fool. Is that the point? The real point is that we were all deceived. The 3 of them looked at me with resentful eyes. I glanced at them, but felt no guilt at all. Xiaomei would never lie to me. She said it herself. If a man isn't honest, just replace him. You have a girlfriend, but you're still messing around with other women. Don't you think you're dishonest? I blinked and asked Wen Yuren first. His face changed instantly, and he couldn't look at me again. Lu Xiao and Zhou Shu both shouted in unison, scumbag. I turned my gaze to Zhou Shu. You're not much better. You have a girlfriend, but still cuddle with other girls and chat casually. Don't you think you're dishonest? This time, Zhou Shu's face turned pale. Lu Xiao and Wen Yuren again condemned him in unison, scumbag. You. I looked at the man beside me, scanning him up and down. A true winner. You have a girlfriend, yet still pine for your ex. Who do you think you are? Scumbag. Their angry voices got louder, but after the accusations, everyone fell eerily silent. I casually sipped my milk tea. It's fine, we didn't really do anything. You don't need to be responsible, just part ways amicably. By now, this was more than enough. Xiaomei said I didn't need to learn how to curse, so I couldn't think of any harsher words. But clearly, they didn't think so. Lu Xiao grabbed my wrist, pleading, wait. But I can change. I'll change whatever you said. I won't. Wen Yuren hurriedly expressed his stance, and I didn't do anything with Yu Lan. I swear. They all expressed their feelings, and now only Zhou Shu remained. He looked at us in disbelief. Do you think I'm such an easy person? Ching ching. Zhou Shu hurriedly said to me. I didn't do anything. I can go to the hospital to get checked. I'm definitely clean. Yes, cleanliness is one of the standards for finding a boyfriend. Although I don't want to go back to my ex. Right now, I can't find anyone more suitable. I sighed softly and placed my empty milk teacup on the table. I'm tired. I'm going back to my dorm to rest. Want to go out? Lu Xiao was the first to react, standing up and following closely behind me. The store where we bought the bag last time has new arrivals. Wen Yuren didn't want to fall behind either. Come with me. Let's have dinner tonight. There's a new barbecue place. It's really good. She likes hot pot. Okay? Zhou Shu sneered. Ching ching. How about we go for hot pot tonight? We can also catch a movie. Maybe stroll through a mall? Being surrounded by people is really annoying. I waved my hand and quickly fled the scene. To prevent anyone from following, I deliberately took a taxi and circled the area a few times before carefully returning to Xiaomei's dorm. She lives in a single room, so it's spacious with her clothes and cosmetics everywhere. But today, I was lucky enough to share a cup of tea. When Xiaomei saw me, it was like seeing a ghost. You came back? Do you know how many times I've been stopped downstairs? Xiaomei stepped aside and showed me her shopping bags. They're all from your boyfriends. I told you, if they're not honest, just replace them. Before you replace them, you should break up first. I whimpered, sitting on a small stool. What should I do now? They're all like ghosts chasing me. Why don't you? Xiaomei tilted her head and thought, why not just make do? They're not that honest, but at least they're clean and generous. Xiaomei smiled and winked. Ah, Ching Ching, you've really grown up. I sighed heavily, caught in a dilemma. On one hand, these guys were exactly what I wanted in terms of looks. On the other hand, I still haven't learned how to say no. Although I haven't gotten together with the three of them, one of them always seems to appear around me. This way, 2 years passed in a blur. Lu Xiao graduated, took over the family business, and bought me an apartment near the school. I don't know why, but the other two also knew the address. Occasionally, when Xiaomei goes out to have fun, I would stay there for a few days, and someone would always come to cook and take care of me. During the new year, I didn't go home, and neither did the three of them. We all ate and drank at a restaurant, chatting and joking around aimlessly. That night, I also drank a bit, and I remember someone bringing out a ring. But when I sobered up, I couldn't remember who had kneeled down with the ring. On the bedside table, however, there were 3 rings neatly laid out. How strange. Why did they think I would choose one of them and get married? The following year, Wen Yuren graduated as well, and he made the same choice as Lu Xiao. But the 3 of them together bought a villa, filled in my name, and I suddenly became a little rich girl. A year later, it was my turn to graduate. So, I packed the few belongings I had in the villa and shipped them off in advance. As I said at the beginning, I am a simple girl. A simple girl should naturally find a simple boy, right? So, when I received an offer from an overseas company, I accepted it without hesitation. The day the villa was emptied, they of course found out. When I was stopped at the airport, I wasn't even surprised. Lu Xiao looked anxious, stepping in front of me. Wait. Why didn't you say you're going abroad? Say what? Wen Yuren laughed angrily. Have you already planned to leave? I looked at both of them and nodded without much reaction. Well, I have my own life. It's totally normal. Wen Yuren froze for a moment. Your own life? Then what were we doing? Playing house? I squinted and smiled. That was your way of dealing with it, not mine. Doesn't it hurt at all? Lu Xiao's face was full of pain, like a dog abandoned by its owner. But I, as the owner, would never pat his head. Don't go. Don't go. Wen Yuren took a deep breath, as if holding back tears. He reached out, grabbing my sleeve, looking at me with pleading eyes, lowering himself to the lowest point. Ching Ching. Anything you say, we'll agree to it. Please don't leave me, okay? I frowned, pulling my sleeve away. Of course not. My nickname is Xiao Qing, not Ching Ching. My flight was about to board, and I could see my new life right in front of me. But the 2 people in front of me were so annoying. Lu Xiao was on the phone, not sure with who, talking a lot in a hurry. In the end, his tears arrived before his words did. Don't forget me. Lu Xiao pulled me into his arms, his voice choking. Wait for me. Wait for me. I muttered, okay, okay. Got it. Before I was sent to the boarding gate, Wen Yuren still held my hand tightly. He kept his head down, sighing repeatedly. Take care of yourself over there. Wait for me, please. Wait for me, okay? How strange. What was I waiting for them for? Could they really come find me? Since I knew they couldn't, I agreed very easily. Once on the plane, I comfortably closed my eyes, preparing to rest. When I woke up, I would be starting a brand new life. Then, I would continue searching for my fourth boyfriend. But unexpectedly, just as the plane took off, I was grabbed by the hand of a man wearing a cap. I froze for a moment, about to snap at him, but he looked up and smiled at me. I saw the golden strands of his hair peeking out from under his cap. Joe Shu whispered softly, "How could we let you run so far by yourself? Don't worry, I'll stay with you and take care of you. Until they come." I sighed helplessly. No wonder I didn't see him at the airport today. Joe Shu was probably the most free in terms of time. Do whatever you want. I closed my eyes again, not forgetting to remind him. Put the eye mask on me, and call me when it's time to eat. Joe Shu laughed softly. Understood.